If you check your calendar today, you might briefly note the date, April 22nd. Considering schools, stores, and banks are still open, it's a normal day. But what you might not realize is that it is a significant day and one where you can celebrate and make a difference. Today is Earth Day. The first Earth Day was celebrated in 1970, and I'd like to share a little history with you. Senator Gaylord Nelson, a junior senator from Wisconsin, had been long concerned with the deteriorating environment in the United States. You might not remember the huge cars that got 10 miles to the gallon on leaded gas that polluted our environment. In January 1969, the senator and many others witnessed the impact of a massive oil spill in Santa Barbara, California. Inspired by the student anti-Vietnam War movement, Senator Nelson wanted to channel the energy of student anti-war protests to bring more public consciousness about air and water pollution. Senator Nelson announced the idea for a teach-in on college campuses to the national media and persuaded Pete McCloskey, a conservation-minded Republican congressman, to serve as his co-chair. They chose April 22nd, a weekday falling between spring break and final exams to maximize the greatest student participation. A national staff of 85 people was hired to promote events across the country, and the effort soon broadened to include a wide range of organizations, faith groups, and others. Earth Day inspired 20 million Americans, at the time 10% of the total population of the United States, to take to the streets, parks, and auditoriums to demonstrate against the impacts of 150 years of industrial development, which had left a growing legacy of serious human health impacts. Thousands of colleges and universities organized protests against the deterioration of the environment, and there were massive coast-to-coast rallies in large cities, towns, and many different communities. Different groups who had been concerned with environmental problems such as oil spills, polluting factories, power plants, raw sewage, toxic dumps, pesticides, freeways, the loss of wilderness, and the extinction of wildlife, united on Earth Day around the country to share these common values. Earth Day 1970 achieved a rare political alignment, enlisting support from both Republicans and Democrats, rich and poor, urban dwellers and farmers, business and labor leaders. And by the end of 1970, the first Earth Day led to the creation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, as well as the passage of other first-of-their-kind environmental laws, including the National Environmental Education Act, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, and the Clean Air Act. 2 years later, Congress passed the Clean Water Act. A year after that, Congress passed the Endangered Species Act, and soon after, the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act. These laws have protected millions of men, women, and children from disease and death, and have protected hundreds of species from extinction. So, 51 years later, the question remains, what can you do for the environment? You can choose to ride a bike instead of drive a car, or carpool if possible. You can plant a tree. You can choose to recycle. You can upcycle and purchase second-hand clothing. You can minimize the use of single-use plastic and paper items. Just don't litter. For today, and all of the days to come, make sure you do your part to protect the environment.